Chris Cuomo demands a $125 million payout from CNN, claims journalistic integrity, and was smeared. So let's get into the story. Fired CNN anchor Chris Cuomo has filed an arbitration claim seeking a staggering $125 million from CNN, claiming his journalistic integrity was unjustifiably smeared, the Post has confirmed. Lawyers for the disgraced newsman argue that Cuomo has been damaged in countless ways by being ceremoniously fired late last year. The filing states that the amount former Governor Andrew Cuomo's brother is demanding is based on lost back pay, bonuses, and future earnings, but mostly because Chris was disparaged by former boss Jeff Zucker and fellow CNN anchors. Chris was fired for helping his brother fight sexual harassment allegations, which led to the governor's rapid fall from grace and his eventual resignation, and Zucker and lover Alison Galost were also fired by CNN when it was revealed they were in an undisclosed relationship while also having had their own close ties to Andrew Cuomo. Cuomo's attorney Brian Friedman told the Post in a statement it should by now be obvious to everyone that Chris Cuomo did not lie to CNN about helping his brother. In fact, as the limited information released from Warner Media's investigation makes clear, CNN's highest level executives not only knew about Chris's involvement in helping his brother, but also actively assisted the governor both through Chris and directly themselves. Referencing reports that Zucker and Galas advised then Governor Cuomo about how to handle his infamous COVID daily briefings, Friedman continued, as CNN has admitted, network standards were changed in a calculated decision to boost ratings. When those practices were called into question, Chris was made the scapegoat. The legal action filed today makes clear that CNN wrongfully terminated Chris and further violated the express terms of his employment agreement by allowing the employees to disparage him. Chris is owed a full apology from those responsible. The demand for arbitration filed Wednesday states as a result of Turner's indefensible choice to unceremoniously fire him, Cuomo has been damaged in countless ways. Cuomo has had his journalistic integrity unjustifiably smeared, making it difficult, if not impossible, for Cuomo to find similar work in the future and damaging him in amounts exceeding $125 million, which includes not only the remaining salary owed under the agreement but future wages lost as a result of CNN's efforts to destroy his reputation in violation of the agreement, the court document said. The filing adds Cuomo now seeks to recover the full measure of his damages against Turner and CNN. That $125 million breaks down into around $18 million for earnings and bonuses allegedly owed to Cuomo on his CNN contract and anything he would have made in the future. But sources say there are consequential damages of around $100 million because Cuomo has a non disparagement clause in his contract that was not honored when he was terminated. Effective immediately on December 4th after claims of sexual misconduct were made against the already suspended host. One source said Chris has a clause in his contract which states that CNN and Warner Media has to instruct their employees not to disparage him even upon termination. But instead, Zucker came out and said Chris was a liar and he didn't tell us everything he did for his brother. Then all those anchors started hammering Chris both on air and behind the scenes. The truth is that even if CNN had grounds to fire him, which Chris believes they didn't, even if he loses the wrongful termination action, he will win on breach of contract based on the non-disparagement agreement, and the damages for that will be astronomical. And reps for CNN and his parent company Warner Media didn't immediately comment. And I thought this was like a pretty interesting thing because, look, to be fair, his reputation was never really good because he was on CNN and he was blatantly lying about countless things. But if in his contract there is that statement saying, like, hey, you cannot disparage me after you terminate me, he might be able to actually win a good amount of money. And if that's the case, okay, fair enough, fair deal. You're going to get paid a disgusting amount of money from CNN. The only thing is, what is going to be revealed if they were to go to court with CNN, right? Like, what are all the dirty secrets that might come out? Because the thing that you got to understand is that, let's say Chris Como actually does truly go full force into going to court with CNN, and CNN doesn't settle at all. Well, then secrets might be revealed in the court case where it might show CNN and a lot of different anchors on CNN doing some super shady stuff because Chris might end up basically being like, hey, this is what happened. We lied about this. We lied about this. They told me to lie about this. All this sort of stuff. And it could end up, basically blowing the lid off of CNN, potentially severely damaging that network, which would be very interesting to see because I don't know what would end up like saving CNN as like a massive news organization because they don't really have a good reputation from anyone, right? Because they don't really report on news, which is sad to see. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what ends up actually happening, whether or not CNN can truly stick with all the punches that might come their way. Because if they are able to, like, more than likely, they are probably going to end up settling with Chris Como for a good amount of money just so that he could keep his mouth shut about whatever they were doing at CNN because he was a big anchor on CNN and there are probably a lot of like different pieces of dirt that he could bring to light that could mess up CNN even more. And so the damages that he might cause to CNN by simply spilling the dirt might be worth it to CNN to basically be like, hey, we're going to pay you this amount of money, shut up, never talk about us ever again, and go fight your own legal battles with all these other different accusations. And it's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be like really interesting to see what ends up happening with this situation because, again, if that is actually in his contract, he's going to win a good amount of money. And if he's allowed to spill dirt, causing massive damage to CNN, CNN is going to be more likely to be like, okay, we're going to bend over for you, Chris, because you basically got a crap ton of dirt on us. So it'd be pretty interesting to see. That being said, if he were to end up getting like a really good settlement, just take your money, put that money, pay off any debts that you have, put that into investments, and then just enjoy the rest of your life. Not in the media realm, because who really wants to watch him? On any political spectrum, who really wants to watch Chris Como? Like, that's the reality of the situation.